Guys, it's Jenny Silver, and today I have a big stimulus package update for you. This is a good update, you guys. There's progress being made. Before I go any further, please click like, subscribe, and leave me a quick comment down below. I truly appreciate it, and it really helps boost my channel. Now, the Problem Solvers Caucus is a smaller subcommittee of 50 people. It is bipartisan, so there are both Democrats and Republicans in it, and they have been working really hard to create a framework that hopefully will give grounds for negotiations for an actual stimulus bill. Now, they have released the text of their framework today, and they have presented it in the House at 11 a.m., and this is called the March to Common Ground. So support for individuals and families, we see $316 billion. We see $1 billion allocated for WIC, $10 billion for SNAP, direct stimulus checks in the amount of $1,200 per adult and $500 per dependent, both a child or an adult dependent. We also see rental assistance for the most needy and other rent stabilization programs and or eviction moratorium through January 2021 in the amount of $25 billion. Student loan forbearance through December 31st, 2020. For unemployment assistance, we see $450 a week for an 8-week transition period. $450. So not $600, but higher than $300. $450 a week for an 8-week transition period is then followed by up to $600 a week, and up to, but not to exceed 100% of your previous wage. 13 weeks from mid-October 2020 through January 2021. So this would be an additional boost onto your current unemployment. Small businesses and nonprofits, we see allocated $290 billion. $240 billion for the PPP, including a second loan, flexible use, full transparency, simplified forgiveness, prioritized distressed businesses. $145 billion remaining from PPP to be reallocated, and then $95 billion in new money. $50 billion for a targeted employee retention tax credit, and rectify the Main Street lending program, which was that non-forgivable loan for small businesses that had unfavorable terms. So most people did not take out that loan, and most banks did not want to provide that loan. Schools and childcare, $145 billion is allocated, $15 billion for childcare providers, flexible and immediate, $100 billion for K through 12 schools for virtual, hybrid, and in-person learning. $30 billion for higher education institutions. State and local aid in the amount of $500.3 billion. This allows $130 billion remaining from the CARES Act for flexible use on documented past state and local COVID expenses. $130 billion in new money for documented future state and local COVID expenses. $120.3 billion in new money for documented local general revenue shortfalls, $250 billion in new money for documented state general revenue shortfalls, and tribal and territorial governments allocation. $400 million for election aid. We see worker and liability protections. And then this is interesting. They have also included automatic boosters to kick in should the pandemic continue. So should that unemployment boost expire and we are still in an extreme state of emergency, the pandemic has not died down, there are automatic boosters that could kick in, such as an automatic 3-month unemployment enhancement in February 2021, if warranted, based on metrics, $120 billion. Automatic stimulus checks in March 2021, if warranted and based on metrics, $280 billion. That means that we could get a second round on top of this of enhanced unemployment benefits, that extra boost, and a second round on top of this first allocation for an additional stimulus check. So we wouldn't have to go back to the Senate, back to the House, and renegotiate everything if come February and March, we are still in the same situation. These automatic boosters would kick in and would continue these programs in this way. It also includes automatic reducers, meaning should the pandemic get better, the amount allocated in the budget would be on a sliding scale down in the following amounts. PPP funding would go down by $60 billion. State and local funding would go down by $130 billion. Rental assistance would go down $10 billion. The total cost, well, the Problem Solvers Caucus has a nice handy chart right here. Potential 2021 boosters. That's that potential money that, should the pandemic continue, those boosters will kick in. This is in the amount of $400 billion. New money, new spending with this program is $1.5237 trillion. And then there is some previously allocated CARES money to be reallocated in the amount of $130 billion. And then there is the potential reducers that could lower the overall cost of this package, which would be in the amount of $200 billion. So this is roughly a $1.5 to $2 trillion package. Now, keep in mind, this is released and intended as a framework, basically a starting point. Now, the good news, in addition to this being introduced today, is that Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, has stated that the House will not leave until they have a bill. So yes, Nancy Pelosi has stated that the House will remain in session until lawmakers have in fact created the next COVID-19 stimulus bill. She stated this morning in a conference call that we have to stay here until we have a bill. Now, Nancy's spokesman has stated that Tuesday's remarks don't mean that the Speaker is adopting a more flexible position. She instead seems to be signaling continued determination to press ahead and won't adjourn the House without an agreement with the administration. Now, in response, Senate, the number 2 House Democrat, Steny Hoyer of Maryland, said the moderates had developed useful ideas, important ideas, but said it did not do enough to address the ongoing needs of helping the economy recover from the COVID-19 crisis. We believe that getting to a compromise is absolutely essential. Getting to a compromise that does not deal with the problems, however, is not useful, because the longer you delay addressing the problems, the greater you weaken both the economy and the response to COVID-19. So, you guys, where do we go from here? Well, Nancy Pelosi has stated that the House will remain in session until they have a bill created by lawmakers. So this framework is a starting point. It will be negotiated, adjusted, created into a bill, voted on in the House, move on to the Senate. So we're going to have to see how things play out exactly. So no, this framework is not a bill that has been passed. It is good to see some progress moving forward in a bipartisan subcommittee presenting these ideas. Hopefully things will get moving, and hopefully I'll have more to report to you soon. Okay, you guys, please click like, subscribe, and leave me a quick comment down below. The spokesman, guess it's a man. It's running on my computer. Something happened, didn't she? She's a chinchilla. She is not a squirrel. She's not a rat. She is not a lizard. People have asked all of these things in comments. She's not a lizard. She's old, too. She's like 12 years old.